Welcome back to Drive Your Thoughts podcast. I'm your host, Master Coach Carrie Marshall, and it's time to go after those goals.
Yeah, whether ready or not, life's coming hard, no breaks, no stop. And if you put me on the spot, don't get it twisted, I never drop. If you feel a bit out of control and out the box, here's a way that you could drive your thoughts. Turn this podcast on, it's a lock. Carrie Marshall on the clock.
Welcome to Drive Your Thoughts Coaching with Master Coach Carrie Marshall. I am here today to talk to you about something that I've been doing a lot lately that's really helped me get ready for presentations and events that I've been speaking with. So in the month of July, I had the opportunity to speak at several different events, one after the other. And somebody came up to me after my very last event and said, I've seen on your social media that you have been traveling all over the country, speaking at several different places, sometimes one day after another. How do you do it? And it kind of gave me a pause, and I thought, yeah, how do I do this where I'm not feeling drained? I'm not feeling like I need a huge break from these really big events. And so today I want to talk to you about the process of getting ready for events. Now, I know that not everyone in my audience is speaking at events, but I really do want to show you that whether you are speaking or attending events, there is a process that you can go through that is going to help you get the most out of the event and also be able to keep your energy exactly where it needs to be. So what I want to talk to you about today is called the flight plan. So I want you to think about a pilot and being able to go on a plane. The pilot not only needs to take care of his own self, but he also has to take care of everyone on the plane as well. And that includes a flight plan. Now that's going to include things like safety checks in the beginning and also knowing exactly where you're going and then takeoff and landing. So when we're talking about events, this is a really great way of getting ready and creating essentially a flight plan for yourself. So what I want to do today is I want to talk about a couple of different people that attend events and how you can create a flight plan for yourself. So the first person that I want to talk about is the presenter. So I had the opportunity last week to speak with several different women, and it was interesting. On the second day, most of us had presented at lunch. There were a couple of people that hadn't yet that were going to be keynotes and things at the very end of the day. And I was talking to one of them at lunch, and she said, I have worked myself up for months about this event. I'm so nervous and I'm really excited, but I just don't know what's going to happen afterwards. And I said, okay, well, what do you think is going to happen? And she's like, well, I'm going to talk to a lot of people. A lot of people are going to come up to me. That usually drains my energy a lot. And then I asked her, well, what does tomorrow look like for you? And she said, it looks like a regular day. I'm going back to work. I have some things with my kids. I have this. And I just kind of mentioned to her, you know what, I'd really look at your tomorrow and maybe take anything off that you need, that you can. And she's like, oh, I don't think I'll need that. Well, 24 hours later, she had messaged me on Instagram and said, I need a break so desperately. I did not realize how worn out I was going to be after speaking. And so if you are a presenter at any event, whether there are 5 people or 5,000 people, I want you to think about your flight plan. Now, most often people will get their flight plan ready for the beginning. They think a lot about taking off. So if you're presenting, what does a takeoff plan look like? So you're going to think about what you're speaking about. You're going to think about that topic. You're going to think about your audience, who's going to be there, because that's really going to shift how you speak at the event. You're going to even think maybe about what you wear. That's something that comes up for a lot of my clients as like, what am I going to wear? How am I going to be presented? You also want to think about something like how you want to show up for the event itself. Are you going to show up for the full event? Are you just coming for the one time that you're going to be speaking? All of these are included in your takeoff plan that you're going to create for yourself. And so then we have again, being in the air, the actual event. This is something that you really want to conscientiously think about. And once again, I have several of my clients right now that are speakers. And as we've talked about it, once again, most of the time they've thought about being on stage, but they haven't thought about how they're going to show up at the actual event. And so one of the biggest things that takes people by surprise is people wanting to talk to them afterwards. I had one client that came to me afterwards, and we had talked about kind of that in-between phase, being on stage and then that after part of being part of the event. And she said, I was shocked that someone followed me into the bathroom. She's like, I was in the restroom and they were talking to me through the stall and telling me, great job, I loved it. And she's like, it just really took me back. I didn't know what to do. But she said, luckily, we had talked about that before of how we want to engage with the audience and people that will want to speak with us. And so as you're creating your flight plan, this is also going to be part of it. Are you going to want to take selfies with everyone? Are you going to want to sit and listen to everyone's stories? Are you going to want to have a QR code so people can get your type of offer or connect with you later? How do you want to show up? And then creating those boundaries and understanding that it's your responsibility to set those boundaries and stick with them. So one of my clients has a very strict boundary that she does not take selfies as she's at events. She's like, I don't love it. I don't love people's cameras in my face. And so she just says, I just don't do it. It's just not something that is appealing to me and it doesn't sound fun to me. And so she has a very specific goal that she won't take selfies, a boundary, not a goal. And so what she does is when somebody asks, she just says, no, but, and then she says what she is willing to do. No, but it's so great to connect with you. Message me on this. Some people don't want to have people message them on Instagram. So as you're presenting, I want you to actually think about, how do I want to be perceived? How do I want to show up when the audience or other people want to come and talk with me? Now, we've talked about the presenting. Most of the time, this is an area that I really don't need to talk about, but I want to just kind of think about a couple of different things. If this is your first time speaking at a really large event, you want to think about engaging with an entire audience. If we go from presenting to 10 people or 100 people, there's a lot of different energy that comes in. If we fill a room with 1,000 people, or we fill a room that we can't see all the way to the back. And so really reminding yourself that energetically, you need to remember that you are in charge of getting your energy to the entire room. And this includes how you present yourself, if you're just speaking to one single area, or you need to go across the room and talk to everybody, that's really going to make a difference. And so as you're thinking about your flight plan, you're also going to want to include things about the audience. Where are you speaking at? How long are you speaking for? How big is the audience? What does the room look like? And how are you going to present and command from a stage where you're speaking to thousands, or an intimate room where maybe there's 20 people and you're looking and watching them intently? All right. So here's the part of the group or the part of the flight plan that most people forget. And that is coming back down to earth. I was with one of my really good friends at my last event, and she was watching as people lined up to talk to me and wanted to take pictures and wanted to tell their stories and wanted to come and engage with me. And she said something. She's like, how is it going to feel to go home and just be a mom where nobody really cares what you do? And I said, that's part of what I have to create, is reminding myself that tonight when I go home, I actually am going to be making dinner, helping with homework, things like that. But we want to make sure that we're creating the descent plan. And so what do you need to do to take care of yourself where you are going to have some time and space for yourself? So for instance, I know that any time that I have had a speaking engagement, the next day I'm going to need to nap, and I'm going to need to read some just whatever type of books, not like motivational or inspirational or things for my business. I'm going to need to read novels. And so those are two things that I always schedule for myself, is napping time and reading time. That has always helped me to just kind of calm down my nervous system, calm down from being around so many people, where I can just be by myself and really create space for myself to get what I need to, so that when I'm ready to, like I said, I could be speaking the next day. And so what I will usually do is I'll create a time that I can maybe eat dinner by myself or with just a couple of people. And then I'll create some time that I can go to bed early. And then I also will make sure to read in the morning. And then I go out and I speak again and I start that flight plan all over again. So I want you to think about your descent plan. What do you need to include for yourself that's going to make a difference? What do you need to do so that you allow yourself the space to really recharge so that you can once again go back out and create an all new flight plan the next day, or just get back into your daily life? Now, we've talked about being the event person, the presentation person, but now let's talk about if you are coming to an event, if you are just participating in the event as an attendee. I want you to remember that you still need to create a flight plan. So many times I watch people come to events and I ask them, well, what are you wanting to get out of this event? Why are you coming? What would be the ultimate result that you're trying to create? And they look at me like, I'm supposed to do all of that? I just bought the ticket. They saw someone that maybe they liked, that saw that they were presenting, and they just bought the ticket. And so they said, well, I just want to come for this one thing. Well, as somebody that's attending an event, it's your responsibility to set a result that you're wanting to create. Anytime that you're doing a course or coming to an event, you want to decide for yourself what you want to get out of that, because you are ultimately accountable for getting that out of the event. And so really think about the event itself and what you're wanting to get. Maybe it's that you're really wanting to sit at the foot of this presenter and hear what they have to say and take really great notes. I always like to say that there's two types of notes that you should be taking as you're going to an event or taking a course. And I think I've mentioned this before, but you're going to want to take inspirational notes and actionable notes. So inspirational notes are going to be those aha moments that just really hit at your heart, that you're going to say, that really resonates with me. They might be quotes that someone says or things like that, that you're saying, oh, that really just hits home for me. Now, it could be something that somebody says and then it hits differently for you. You know, that intuition or inner voice says something to you about, you know, something about your own life. So that would be the inspirational notes that you're going to want to take. Now, I want you to also take actionable notes, meaning that maybe somebody tells you to do something and you really want to follow through with it. So you're going to write down that actionable note, but maybe you're listening to somebody speak and you're telling yourself like, oh, I've really got to get this in, really got to dial this in. That would be an actionable item. So make sure that as you're attending an event, that's going to be part of your flight plan, is you're going to make sure that you're taking inspirational and actionable notes as you're at the event. You're also going to want to think about how you want to engage with other people at an event. You could be going for yourself and not want to engage with anybody, network with anybody. You might go with a friend group and just really want to connect with them. But we want to have that intention set before, because events are amazing places to network and get to know people and make new connections. But if that's not something that you're going for, you want to be very intentional about it, because you're going to show up very differently. Now, as we talk about being an attendee, you also have to think about coming down from events. Remember that you are going to have that inspiration and motivation from being at an event that maybe you might be going home and the people around you aren't going to have. And so as we talk about your descent plan, you really need to decide who you want to share this event with, what you want to take from it, and then how you want to incorporate it into your own life. Because no one else maybe went to the event with you. And so you really need to think about how you want to show up, and nobody else is going to get it because they weren't on that flight plan. So as we talk about all of this, I want you to just remember that it doesn't matter if you're presenting or if you're attending an event, it is always crucial to have something like a flight plan in place so that, number one, you know exactly how to prepare to get ready for the event. Number two, you know exactly how you want to show up as you're at the event. And then number three, that as you descend and you come back, that you know exactly how you're taking care of yourself so that you can either get right back into another flight plan, or you can come back into your own regular life and have the energy and the optimization of going to that event that's really going to help you to create the next great thing in your life. So As we come out of kind of event season, we have so many events in the summer, and maybe you're still on the tail end of that. I want you to just kind of think about how you're going to utilize a flight plan in these events. And this can also help as we go after our goals as well. Because as you go after your goals, you're going to see different events that will be happening all throughout your life. I have one of my clients that decided to do TV appearances this year as part of her goal. Going after her goal is part of TV appearances. And so as she's done that, we've really had to talk about the flight plan, creating a flight plan that's going to help her prepare before, show up engaged, how she wants to during, and then how she's going to descend back and really utilize what she just did to up-level her goal. I hope this has been helpful today. Go out and create those flight plans so that you really can take off going towards those goals that you love and really taking the most advantage as you are going and either speaking or attending these bigger events. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Thanks for listening to this podcast episode. If you're ready to get in the driver's seat of your own life, you can come and follow me at Drive Your Thoughts Coaching on Instagram, or come and see more ways to work with me at driveyourthoughts.com.
Yeah, whether ready or not, life's coming hard, no breaks, no stop. And if you put me on the spot, don't get it twisted, I never drop. If you feel a bit out of control and out the box, here's a way that you could drive your thoughts. Turn this podcast on, it's a lock. Carrie Marshall on the clock.